Man, I just want to say up front, thank you so much for joining, man. I mean, I just appreciate everything that you've been doing. It's kind of, you've been kind of creating, in my opinion, at least, this little like creative wave. You know what I mean? Like from the
Yeah,
style, the energy, the fashion, the faith, and it's just kind of been something that I've been really, really drawn to. And I just kind of feel like with this show, I just want to really represent and show the people who are really giving me the most amount of energy, who are inspiring me the most, who I feel like creating a new sort of energy or a wave or a ripple or something that I can't really explain. I just want to, get into the minds, get into the essence and learn a bit more,
absolutely.
Just, again, grateful, gratitude to have you joining today, man. But just to do a formal introduction, thank you everyone for joining us again. I am your lovely host, Cleon. We have Justin Boone today. I mean, honestly, bro, your list of things that you do is incredible. Let me try to break it down. I'm gonna say a few things. You guys think, oh, you guys are gonna think I'm joking, but this man does all of this. I've done my research. Creative entrepreneur is a general thing, but it's deeper than that. Stylist, costume designer for for film and TV, fashion designer with David and Goliath, YouTuber. I saw the videos, phenomenal stuff, bro. Street style photographer, if you don't know, commercial painter, and just in general, man, just an artist. That's the truest. This is the truest, most definitive thing I can say. Artist. And I mean, how would you describe yourself?
I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. I definitely say for sure I am a creative entrepreneur at at the base of it. But all the branches that extend throughout that, are like you said, I'm a painter. I'm designing for David and Goliath, my clothing brand. Assistant costume designer for film and television, stylist, photographer. Yeah, I enjoy all things creative, and uh, things that especially are dealing with clothing. Clothing is where my heart is. It's where my passion is. That's where I get the most joy. And yeah, I'm just happy to be able to do it. I'm happy to be here. And I'm happy that God is using me in so many different ways, and is being able to fuel me and give me the gifts that I have to be able to, extend them.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk about the specific things, but I mean, as you mentioned it, it's just something I need to say that I think nowadays, particularly given how like the climate is, people aren't as forward with their faith as I believe they should be if they truly believe it. For some odd reason, we've gotten to a place in space in life where, I think faith or just religion or having a tenet or ethos or having a roadmap for life has been devalued, as if that's not the most prime core base thing. All things extend from that. And I'm saying this as a person who's not even religious, but I know how religion's played a part in other people's lives that I know of, and in my early upbringing, it's there. And that's, I think, the thing that about you that attracted me the most. It was like seeing a young person who's so stylish, who's so innovative, who's making such new things and so forward. And like, this is me. This is a God dream. I'm working through God and Jesus's, mission and vision for me. And I'm just here to be a vessel for those dreams and desires. And it's like, it's so pure. I really can't like put it into words. I don't even know how like I don't even know how to really describe it, but that's truly the energy I get from you. Is like you're a leader in that sense. We know about the fear of gods and even Yeezy to a degree with what Kanye is doing and Jerry Lorenzo obviously. But just to see someone on another person coming up in that sort of vein is just inspiring in a way. To be honest with you, because I really feel like we need that grounding, these days more than ever.
Yeah, it's super important for me, for a lot of different reasons. But outside of my upbringing, and then me transitioning to make the decision on my own to make this a lifestyle that I wanted to attach myself to or be attached to. It's just important for me, and what I ended up desiring as I grew older and grew wiser in my faith was that I was seeking to have community, and the quickest way, in my opinion, to gain community is to be outward with who you are. And that gave me a lot of confidence to just put it on Front Street, like, wear my heart on my sleeve. My heart is attached to Jesus. My heart is attached to my fiance. My heart is attached to my family. And, like, you'll see those things throughout my life and throughout my Instagram posts and all those things, if you're paying enough attention. And I'm very uh, you know persistent and keen on making sure that those things are prevalent in my life, and it's what fuels me, honestly, and it's what's gotten me to where I am today. It's what's gotten me to where I was a year ago, 6 months ago, 5 years ago. So it's something that I truly need, and there's a saying, if you truly love something, then you'll talk about it all the time. And, you know, and I think that that's true. Like I love my relationship with Christ. So I talk about it every opportunity that I get. I love my fiance. I talk about her every chance that I get. I love what she's doing. I love my art. I love my brand. And yeah, I'm just happy to be a vessel and to be used and to be a vehicle.
Yeah. What do you think is that? Not to give you too far into the future, like to put you too far in the future. But what do you think that that vision is for either one of those things, any one of those things?
Yeah, for me with all of the talents and the gifts that he's given me, I see myself, I said this once before, and it's something that I stand by, is that, I don't like to box myself into any one narrative. I like to be available. So, the things that I feel have been spoken over my life through my relationship with God is definitely, David and Goliath becoming bigger and more prominent than just a clothing line.
Mm.
I feel abundance in my relationship, with my fiance and soon to be wife. I feel creatively that there's just going to be a lot of different products, a lot of different projects that are going to have my name attached to them, and my name being attached to them is what's going to bring it full circle and bring it back to him. So I have dreams and aspirations for a lot of things. I want to design furniture. I want to have collaborations with sneaker brands and other clothing lines. I'm working on a video series of my own that could be called or considered a podcast. But that's coming soon as well. So there's just a lot of ideas that I get and that I like to attack,
Mm.
and I just stick to them, and I think that's why you know um, defining myself has become so broad, because I've allowed myself to be available for whatever God puts in my heart at the time.
Mm.
And because he's given me the skills to do so, I can then take on that title. Like I can confidently say, like, yeah, okay, like I'm a street photographer. Like I can confidently say that because of what I've done. I can confidently say, like, I'm an artist because of the clothes that I've painted. I can confidently say that I'm a costume designer because I've been in the film and television industry for 5 6 years. Like, so whatever that next defining moment is that I'm going to be led into, I can't pinpoint exactly what it'll be, but I am very much, like I said, available and ready and consistently preparing myself for what's next.
Yeah, man. Even watching the series that you're talking about, that video series with a friend, I was watching your most recent one.
Yeah.
You were just saying some. I mean, obviously, like you were saying some real true things, obviously, which is your nature. But you hit up on a point, and you were saying over the past year, just with the fact that you are an artist, the fact that you both, are people who have to like get it out of the mud, who have to come up with these ideas and turn them, take a dream from your brain, and turn to something that's real, and that's how you sustain yourself. So the idea of someone last year, unfortunately, probably losing their job due to the whole pandemic that we all experienced, but for you and other artists, it was almost like, okay, I know this sort of situation where I have to make something from nothing, and it almost felt like, not saying another day, but something that you could more appropriately handle. And I think that openness to be able to know that you can almost do anything is something that's really, really, in my opinion, important. And from what I was kind of getting from your ethos was that faith and that love and self and the things that you value and in your faith, in your faith itself, just gives you the sort of confidence to know that you can do it, and not just do it, but do it well,
Yeah.
and put inspiration and have a motivation behind it. That is particular. It's like in particular, like very singular. I really can't put the words on it in this moment. I'm hopefully over the course of the conversation we get there. But really, what I'm trying to crystallize is that you do a lot of things, but you do them very, very well. You know what I mean?
Thank
And it's
you.
not, it
Yeah.
doesn't seem scatterbrained to me. It doesn't seem like, oh, this is a person jumping from one thing to the next. It's a person who has a talent in many different things, and it's just one vision translated through all these different mediums. But it's the message is clear to me. And I just find it to be a very difficult thing to do. But from my perspective, outside looking in, like the message is very clear across all your different, mediums and channels.
And I appreciate that because it didn't become aware to me until recently that uh everything that I have talent and interest in all really boil back down into one overarching overall goal. And I didn't recognize that until I was in the process of pulling David and Goliath together for the first, launch of the collection online, and I recognized that like, okay, my experience in film and television has given me the knowledge and the tools to be able to like put out a call sheet, to be able to properly prepare the clothing, to make it, you know, to be there on the set of the photo shoot, making sure that everything is working seamlessly. And then like my photography is why I can choose because I didn't shoot it myself, or I shot some of it, but not the lookbook images, the official lookbook images or the product shots. But my photography eye is how I can single out a photographer that works for the vision that I'm trying to portray, and then be on set next to him and tell him the angles and the things that I'm looking for. It's just I appreciate your note about that because I really do like to make sure that I'm doing my absolute best in every single thing that I put my hands on. So, at times, it is funny that you say it doesn't feel scatterbrained because at times I feel very scatterbrained because I'm so creative and I have all these other ideas and stuff, and I don't always know how to put them in the direction that I want to go in most efficiently. But it always comes to fruition, and the timing is always just pinpoint. So yeah, I appreciate that, man, because I definitely do take pride in everything that I do, and always want to be, do it at the best possible way that it can be done. My father told me growing up, it's like, he's like, son, I don't care what you do. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you become, just as long as you're the best at whatever you do. And, growing up, it was hard for me to, receive that because I'm like, what do you mean you don't care about what I do? Like, you gotta care about what I do. Like, I'm your son. Like, what if I just become a trash man? Like, what if I could become, But it was like he had this faith not only in myself but in God as well. It's like you're gonna be great. Just choose something and be great at it. And so, I hold on to that. And he reminded me of that just not too long ago. And, I hold on to that. I put it on my mood boards. I have a big web diagram of all the things that I'd like to do, out of the dwelling that I am and the gifts that God's given me. And it's just, yeah, it's, all that to say, man, I really appreciate that. Like that hits home. So thank you.
Appreciate that. Nah, for sure. I mean, just saying the truth, I see because I know a lot of artists. I mean, this whole series really is just about when it really boils down to it. Artists in every sense of the word. People who make businesses are artists, in my opinion. People who actually do art, you know what I'm saying, are artists in a sense. It's just anybody taking a dream from their brain and putting it into the real world. And I'm always fascinated by, there's a lot of people who have vision. There's a lot of people who have ideas, but there's something about doing things that I just really, 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 really appreciate because doing things are
Yeah,
hard. Everybody can have a
absolutely.
dream, but those that execute, I really, really value, and the ability to execute across so many different mediums is really something that you gotta hold on to and realize that is an incredible blessing. Because I mean, I've been street style photographer for years myself. I did a clothing line for a short period of time. Like a video talk series, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of things that you're doing, I had experience with, and I know what goes into actually doing it, even on a decent level, much less a good level, much less a great level, much less consistent across a bunch of different channels in a short period of time. It seems, obviously. And just seeing that, it's like, yeah, like, I don't know, I have no idea how old you are. It doesn't matter to me. It's just this level of execution leads to the things that in a couple of years people will be saying like, oh, I saw it. It makes sense. I see how fear of this became a fear of God alternative or something similar to that. Like it has, or any sort of contemporary fashion brand that makes sense because the owners, the founders' vision is so strong and consistent across everything that they do. They start to create a story. And I think what people fail to realize when they're building a brand or they're building any sort of art that they're part of, people are more interested in you as much as the art that you create.
Right.
And when your story and your message is almost a story that people can read, like they're reading a book, and they can open a chapter and like, oh, what happened in the first chapter? What happened in the second? I can't wait to see where this ends. When you're on that sort of like trajectory, people just it's easy to jump into it when it makes sense like that and when it's pure. I think the authenticity, just the, like for lack of a better term, like the authenticity of it all just really shone through. You know what I mean? In a random way. I mean, to the point where I thought for a second she must have lived in Utah because you just seem so natural in the environment. I'm like, oh my, he's from Utah. He lives here. I was watching one of your YouTube videos and some of the stuff that you were posting recently. I'm like, oh, he must be from Utah. I didn't like even clock that you weren't because you just seem so natural in the state of what you were doing. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's I have this unique ability to really like, kind of adapt into my environments, and I do it with my clothing. So it's like, I don't want to look like I'm from there, but I do know how to take pieces from it and make it my own. So like, like for you to mention, like he must be from here, that's how I get the confidence like, oh, let me put a cowboy hat on. Like I've ridden a horse maybe once in my life. Like, let me put a cowboy hat on, let me get some vintage cowboy boots and some old Levi's and put together a fit to make this feel like home for the time that I'm here. Because, I was there working on a project on a television series called Yellowstone. So when I'm off for work, I'm there for months at a time. So I was in Utah for 4 to 5 months. So, I have to, whenever I'm in a place for a long period of time, I have to make it feel like home because otherwise it'll drive me crazy. So like I'm always traveling with the things that, you know, give me the ability to create things often authentically, like you said. So it's like it's my skateboard, my paints, and then my clothing, and then how I can bring everything together and still feel like Justin Boone no matter where I am.
Yeah, there's definitely like a universal feel to you, like wherever you seem to land or stick. Like, if someone told me you're from New York, I would believe them. So if someone told me you're from Utah, I would absolutely believe them. If somebody told me you're from DC or Atlanta, I would believe them. LA, I would believe them. Like, I forgot to mention he's a skateboarder too, guys. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you really are. I don't like giving. I feel people don't understand. Like, I'm a person who doesn't like to give compliments, but when I really am attracted to somebody's energy, it's just pure to me. You know what I mean? When things are pure, they're just pure. There's just something about you that just feels like a world traveler, no matter where you are. Like you feel it would just fit. Maybe it's because you just genuinely interact with an area rather than trying to make it you. Covering that area. It's just like, no, I'm here. This is what I want to be. I'm gonna like completely ingratiate myself into it. And I think nowadays because there's almost like a flattening of personality. There's a flattening of spaces. Like every place feels not New York. Every place feels like LA. Every place feels like there's a few places. It's hard to find that sort of like subculture or this little small specific thing or like that one record that only you have. And for some reason, when I see you, it's like you're creating that special uniqueness, that special uniqueness that people can kind of like say, oh, this thing right here is small and special and it can grow, but I can be a part of it as it grows and it's going to be something that's unique. And you just don't see that a lot often these days.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, like I said, I just really try and make every place, you know, I try and use every environment that I have to best reflect who I am, um, in any way that I can. Helps me to feel like I have a sense of control. Not that I am controlling, but it makes me feel like, okay, like, you know, I can I can find a way here.
Yeah, I guess I would say another question, like with everything that you're doing, what would you say is I wouldn't say the most important because that'd be a difficult question, but what excites you the most, at least right now?
Um, you know, there's a few things. There's two things that take uh you know the prize though, and as far as excitement. The first and foremost is just like getting to know Jesus more. Like my relationship with God is like growing more and more every day. It gets hard sometimes, and then it gets easy, but the more that I spend time with him, I read, and I talk to him and stuff, it really gets exciting because I feel his presence, and then I'm receiving back from it. So that's become really exciting. Another thing that, takes a prize for me in my excitement, is my fiance Telsha. Like, being in a relationship with someone that is so beautiful and so powerful in so many different ways, really just warms my spirit. Like, I posted a photo of her not too long ago, and I was like, if you guys only knew what God did for me when He gave me her. And that was true. Like receiving her as a gift was is really uh the thing that excites me every single day, like waking up and just being able to spend time with her. And then more, on a business or an artistic side of things, I'm in the process of creating a book, and that's what's got me super excited. I have some products coming out for David and Goliath as well. That'll, probably by spring should be done. So there's just a lot of, like you said, like, I'm someone that does a lot of things. So it is hard to pinpoint one thing, but, outside of my relationships, meaning, my relationship with Christ and relationship with Telsha is, I'm really just excited about every new idea that gets dropped into my spirit, and the ability to actually execute them. Because I think that there's a gray area between, like you said, like thinkers and doers. And I'm really appreciative that almost everything that I've thought about thus far has come into fruition, has been executed. There's things that I know that I can't do right now because I just don't have the resources for it to do it how I want to do it. And someone that, I admire in that sense as well is like Daniel Arsham. I've been paying a lot of, more attention to him, and on his stories every so often he'll post um, a drawing from 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 15 years ago, and it be something that is relevant right now. And I'm like, the patience to be able to sit with an idea for that amount of time, or even the lack thereof. 'Cause I'm sure that at times he's like, man, I want to do this so bad right now. Let me use what I can. And, for me, I'm building upon that patience as well, and being like, okay, I know that this isn't ready. Like, I don't have the resources to do this right now. Like, I want to do a screenplay one day. Like, like, I know I don't have the resources for that right now. People would think, like, what do you mean you're in the film industry? You have everything you need, but not really. I don't know how to, I can write, but I don't know how to write a play or a movie or a television series. Like, I don't know how to do that. So, there's just a lot of different things that have graced themselves upon me that that I'm looking forward to accomplishing within my lifetime. But yeah, as of right now, the things that I'm most excited about for sure are, yeah, this book that I just mentioned, and then the next steps for David and Goliath,
Yeah.
and my video conversations too.
Of course, yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, tell me a little bit about the book. I'm low key like a little sensitive to books. I've done like three of them to
Oh,
like today.
okay.
Yeah, I've done like yeah. This is actually I don't want to plug shit anymore, but it's
Uh,
my most recent one. Photo book about love. So all the things that you're talking about are really like they come to heart. Specifically talking about your new fiance. It's like what's that? What are you covering in the book?
So the book it's gonna be a photo book. I want it to be it's a hybrid. So I want it to be a coffee table book, a rather large one. But and when I say a hybrid, it's a hybrid between a photo book and a devotional book. So there's this Bible called the Alabaster Bible, and what they do is like they take books of the Bible and they single them out, and they put images with scripture. But and I enjoy it because I'm a visual learner, but the images aren't always parallel with the words on the page. It's just something to help grasp your attention or keep you engaged, so that you just don't feel like you're always just reading. So for me, I kind of took inspiration from that, and I'm using my own photography. And instead of focusing on books of the Bible singularly, I'm just focusing on scriptures that I enjoy, and scriptures that I because I used to, I would write devotional sometimes. Like, I'd read a scripture and break it down, and send them out to friends or whatever. So with this, I'm taking my photos and taking scripture that can align itself with the exact photo. And it's crazy how it's because, these are photos from 3 years ago, like photos from 2 years ago, photos from yesterday, and taking scripture and plugging it in and seeing like how looking at a photo can bring the scripture to life.
Yeah.
So, it's a hybrid between the two. I don't have any details on when it'll be out yet. I'm still working on it. Like if I could say I'm probably 60% done, maybe.
I'm just letting you know in
So
advance. It's like the idea itself, the concept behind it, brilliant. I'm just letting you know in advance, like perfect sense, and
yeah,
again, an extension, a full extension, genuine extension of everything that you're doing. As soon as you were saying it, I was like, it's exactly what he would do. It makes sense. It really genuinely makes sense. And mind you, I'm not people. I only want to talk to people I really like fuck with. So I think what people tend to see is that I'm here and I'm giving these absorbent compliments. So I'm saying things that I don't believe. I genuinely mean this shit. I could talk to anybody. I'm not even really joking when I say that. It's new. It's a small thing, but I truly believe in the things that you're doing. I see the vision of what you're creating. Did everybody just put that together? Let's take the last two things that you said. You're doing a book. It's about scripture and devotional, and you just said before that the idea of like Daniel Arsham and his work going back years. You've had these photos for years. You've been doing these devotionals for years, and you in this moment saying, "Let me slow things down. Let me just like, dude. These book supplies I know. The fact that we're even having this conversation, I could be like right after the call, yo, this is where you should go to get a good price. I mean, just stuff like that is just putting things into place, but the fact that you've had these photos for a minute, had been doing these devotionals for a while, have this interest in fashion. We're in a new climate of people being a little bit less on the forefront with their faith or being in tune with that sort of religion or belief. And you're saying, why not combine all these things that we know people are interested? People are religious. They do have a faith. They are interested in fashion and aesthetics. How do we combine the two and make it something that's actually fun and interesting to do? Like, these are the ideas of the future. These are the things. If I was a young, when people think about like Kirk Franklin and how of that moment when he was just like, let me take what people love and put the sauce and the substance behind it. That's what you're doing. I'm like, that's the grand vision that people will take their time to realize, but it's very obvious with your work. When you see it, you see it. It's like investing in a stock or seeing a company that's going to go really well. You, from an artist perspective, bro, you're on it. You're on to something, bro. You're on to something, bro. I'm telling you. I didn't see it all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I really didn't see it all. Like, my best homie in the world is Joshua Kissy. You know what I mean? Like, street etiquette. Like, we saw the vision in these other places, like, who really had a vision of what a community could look like around something. Another faith-based person who's very strong in his faith. And I've seen how, just to be quite frank, like, how God has worked in his life and put him in a position to steer a certain community in a certain direction. I think you're in a similar position. Just to be quite frank, I
yeah,
really truly believe that. I really genuinely believe it, man.
I appreciate that, man.
So
Like I really truly do. I think one thing that really hits home or hits my heart a lot is when people, both that I know, but even more specifically people that I don't know well, speak life into me. Because I see the value in it. Like I love speaking life into others, and so I really appreciate you just bringing light to all that. I appreciate the kind words and all that stuff. It's even hard for me to take compliments sometimes, just as you say, it's hard for you to give them, but I take it all. I accept it all, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to just building products and continuing to do things that are beyond me,
yeah,
and I know that yeah, it's all in the timing of it,
yeah,
and the timing is most important. So I appreciate that, man, and I'm happy to support you and being on your podcast, because I've looked at some of the videos and the guests that you've had on here, and I look at myself, I'm like, okay, cool, like, I guess we doing this. So,
I appreciate
you
that.
know I appreciate it, bro, and your work is phenomenal, man, like honestly and truly. And yeah, I'm looking forward to I feel strongly that the relationship between you and I is going to continue to build and develop after this
Absolutely,
call. And
absolutely.
these this was these are moments, like you just mentioned, with me using old photos and bringing it together with old devotionals. Like, this is one of those moments that just feels ordained, that just feels so purposeful, you know for you to reach out to me and for me to have the time to accept it and to be so willing, and that's what I mentioned before, and that's where that comes from, of me just being available, like I just I want to be available to any and every opportunity as long as it feels right in my spirit, and where it could lead to. And it's already becoming so fruitful, I feel, for the both of us. So
Absolutely.
I
There was
appreciate
even one video that you had that you posted. I forget exactly which one on YouTube, but you said something that was really profound and necessary. And of course it's well known within religion. But come as you are, and use the resources that you have, and it will be fruitful if you're willing to put the work into it. Because we all have enough. We all have just the right amount of what we need to be who we should be. I believe that all of us have, everybody has the ability to get better at something, but I believe we're all born with a certain aptitude, a certain purpose, a certain reason for us to connect to the next thing. And I think some people, they lose sight or they get discouraged by their aptitude or their blessing not being the other person's blessing or the next woman or the next man's blessing. And what they fail to realize is that your blessing is as big as you want to make it, as long as you really commit to it and believe that this is the right path for you to be on. It's like, oh, I want to start Google, and I have this little small business. How am I going to ever get there? It doesn't matter about that. It's about how big and impactful could the thing that you're doing be. Because maybe your path in life is to touch 100 people, 10 people, 2 people, but those 2 people go on to touch millions or billions, and that is just as strong of a purpose than anything else. And I think sometimes we get discouraged by that. And I think that's a failure. That's a failure vision, in
Yeah,
my
man,
mind.
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100% because I've had that same thought. I'm like, I strongly believe that we are all gifted equally. Everyone has a gift, a talent, something that comes natural to them. It's just about what you do with that seed, and how you cultivate it. And unfortunately, we don't have the power to cultivate and nurture our own seeds all on our own, which is why community is so important, and the people that you surround yourself with are so important. But I agree with you 100%, bro. Like, I think that your ability to dream and believe in yourself and the talents and the gifts that you have at a certain level is what's going to keep you on track. Because the minute you start looking to the right or to the left is when you become distracted, and then you're now so focused on what someone else is doing that you lose sight of the gift and the purpose and the calling that's been set upon your own life that you were so sure of, until you saw what somebody else was doing and how successful they were because of what they were doing. And then it's like, okay, well, maybe let me go try and do that. And it's like, no, 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 no. Like, you weren't supposed to do that. You were going to reach you could have reached that same level of success and gratitude and joy, but I needed you to do it in your own way, in the way that I set out for you. And because you're so focused on what everyone else is doing, you're now not going to be able to experience that. And then because you're short on experiencing it, you're going to get down on yourself. You're going to be discouraged, and then the dream goes out the window. We see it happen to people every day. I think that, people blame, some people blame money for the reason why famous people go and, harm themselves. I don't think it's the money. Maybe this just wasn't what they ever wanted to do, but they followed a path that was available to them, and it still got them to a level of success, but it didn't come with the joy and the fruitfulness that was promised to them from the beginning if the path was different. So, but I mean, it's a much deeper conversation. But
No, but no. I mean, that's the
it,
conversations I'm really here to have. Let's get deeper because it's true. I think people. I've been asking myself a question over the past, definitely year, but definitely over even the past couple of months as I've been more firmly accepting, what I want to do in life, which is this and the extension of this that I have in mind. And I just kept asking myself, if you had all the resources or all the stability or comfort in the world, which I don't have, we're all trying to get it up. What would you be doing? And it was something that was really, really a beautiful thing to ask myself because I'm a person who's always like strategically trying to make the best decision to not, completely fall off the ledge, but you got to reach for something, so there's going to be risk. And I just kept saying to myself, like, I would just do this in a higher form, which I already have in mind, and do the offshoots of it that I know I want to do. But it's like like what's the point of being good if you don't have a purpose behind it? What's the point of like having everything that you need if you're not doing anything? For me, like my life, my essence, my ethos, I want to contribute. I want to aid people. Like this whole thing is called SHEREN. It's because it's not called my name. It's not like the Cleon Gray podcast or the blah 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 Cleon Gray experience. It's SHEREN. You know, like to me, the idea of everything is like I would like if someone said you can be blessed with anything. I want to be blessed with a big enough platform to put people like you on and others that I see who have talent who normally wouldn't get the shine. But I see what they're trying to build, and they then can arise in a center where they want to be. Like to me, that would be my ultimate life joy to be able to say this person's doing really cool shit. No one really cares. They got 100 followers or 10 or 1,000, but I know it's good and I believe in what they're doing. And being able to like change the course of someone's life and put them in a place that I believe, and hopefully other people will tell me that they deserve to be in. And no one's doing that these days. It's a paid wall for things like that nowadays, and we have to break those things down.
Yeah, you're gonna be. I strongly believe that you're gonna be blessed because of that. Because the, like you said, like the things that you pointed out within myself and the authenticity of it, I truly feel and see as well within what you're doing. And to hear you now speak on it confirms it all because it's like, you know, you, we have, and I love that, you mentioned that you had to have a real conversation with yourself and, say, if I had all the luxuries and the comfort in the world, what would I be doing? That is that is a very good place to be because it lets you know that what whatever that thing is for people, and obviously this is that for you, it's going to be beneficial for people beyond you, and that's always the goal, that's always the dream, that's the purpose behind the calling, is to reach and impact others. The things that we receive and the things that we get are just for ourselves, because we were never intended to get the glorification, we were never intended to get the light. We're humans and there's so many of us in this world. We are all lights in our own regard, but we're not meant to be the spotlight. We're not able to hold the capacity and the weight of that. So, for me, because of my beliefs, like, God is the only person that can have that. So when we take what we're given and then share it and give it and have and grow and allow opportunity for others to also have their light shown, then we no longer feel the weight of it because we're now distributing it and allowing other people to, hey, like your light can shine too. Like, let me lift you up. Hey, your light can shine too. Let me lift you up. Instead of us all trying to sit here and absorb it all and be like, oh, I just want this for myself. Like you said, like you didn't name the podcast after yourself because it's not about you, you know, and that's the key. Like, yes, it's going to be fruitful for you. Yes, it's going to be beneficial for you because you're the cultivator. This is your idea. You have the vision, you have the taste to point out these people. And that's the gift that you have, one of the gifts that you have, where it's like you have been given an opportunity to take the taste and the specifics within your eye and your vision and recognize things that you either saw in yourself or things that you can truly deeply appreciate. And now you're looking for an avenue and an opportunity to bring those things to the light so that the people that have the talents and the gifts that you see are now met with opportunity. And once we as a people understand that, like, community and opportunity is how we all survive or how we all thrive, because all we're doing right now is surviving, but how we all actually thrive and grow beyond, then we'll remain stuck and in this cycle that we're in, looking over to our left and to our right about how to get it on our own, instead of, hey, like, I got this opportunity, I got this person, I got this resource, I can't do anything with it, let me give it to you. Or I see what you're doing and I've already used it, or I'm using it right now, but I'm so knee deep in this. Like, let me pass it on to you as well, so that you can also grow. Because we're such a selfish people. We get something, and I think it comes from the idea that, like, oh, I got it out the mud. Like, everybody wants to have all the cookies and all the eggs in their basket. Everybody wants to know and everybody wants to be known as a person that did it on their own. I didn't get no help from nobody. I did this on my own. But that's not the purpose of it all. It's like, how could that be possible? We're not. There's no way that we could ever do anything as single individual people, which is why we're surrounded by so many people, people that we know and love, and people that we don't know and have and are yet to know. So, you're the purpose behind what you're doing is large. It's going to expand way beyond you. And I see where you're planting your seeds, and I hope that I myself and other people that you bring onto this podcast and people that you surround yourself with are going to help you water and cultivate it as a community, because that's what it deserves.
I'm gonna receive that as well. I'm gonna receive that as well. It's hard for me to take compliments as well, but I receive that because that's what honestly needs to happen.
Yeah.
Just like you said, I mean, the whole entire thing is like, there's nothing has value without sharing it. I always like make this it's a basic little reference or metaphor or whatever, but I always like, it's like cooking something with someone. It's like everything in life only has value from sharing it. If I learn how to cook something, or I go to the store and I get some, ingredients, I can now make a meal and I can share that meal with others. And then in me learning how to do that, I can, teach my child or teach a friend how to make that same meal. And it goes on and on and on. And I don't understand why people don't realize that every single thing that we interact with comes from something, someone else, some idea, some blessing that's been bestowed upon us. We owe nothing. We're just here for the time. None of this. I haven't earned any of this. It's just something that I was blessed upon me to be able to have and be, I don't know, a steward of in this time that I have it. But I don't own or deserve any of this shit. You know what I mean? When I really think about it. So it's in the passing on that things have value. It's the share, giving back, paying it forward. All those words that people just take for granted, but it really what it is. I was even talking to a friend, somebody I want to have on the show, who was talking to another friend who's in LA because he was thinking about making a move. And he was telling them, like, because he was considering moving, and it's an older guy, and he was saying, LA's a desert. Like, people need to remember, like, LA's a desert, and it's like when people see you, they're going to see somebody with a cup of water, and everybody's going to want some of that water. So then you get the people that tend to be associated with that sort of like environment and entertainment. And he says to avoid all of that, just share the water before anybody asks, before they reach. Just share the water. Just share it. Just share it before anybody even asks. Because if you're sharing it, then that whole entire energy doesn't get created around you. Just share the water. And I was like, that is so profound. I mean, and just, yeah, man. Just,
Yeah, that's honestly so good. I never thought about it that way. And I've tried to pinpoint, I tried to describe LA people, or the difference between like LA and New York. I haven't spent a ton of time in LA, but I've been in LA, or in the area, enough to understand the energy that comes with it. But yeah, I've never heard a description like that, and it's
and I
so
was,
true.
I was Adrian Savage. I just want to give him credit. Like, that was not me. That was Adrian Savage, the fashion designer. I'm hoping to get him on the show soon. Because I'm like, I need you to say that. Because he dropped a bunch of gems. I'm not going to use all of them right now, but I was here. I was like, yo, this dude is in tune. Like, I was right. I was like, I was talking to my friend on the phone. I'm like, he said what? I started taking notes. I mean, I'm going to have to go to my phone and get out some other notes, but I'm going to wait to talk to him about it. But I thought that was really indicative of like the energy that people have out there. And it's just, and I understand it. Like, I've been out there myself for a short period of time. And it's just like, because everyone's trying to, this is, outside of LA, obviously, just everywhere. Everyone's trying to get to some place, and we feel like it's scarce. And don't get me wrong, I do believe that, if there's only 10 of something and someone has two, like, I don't know, so let's say there's 12 covers of a magazine every year, and someone gets two of those, and the other person gets two, and another person gets one. There's only 12 options, and sometimes people are getting more than one of them. But what people fail to realize is that just we can create another magazine. You know what I mean? You can create another opportunity, something that could even be stronger than the one that you're harkening back to, or completely upend something and make something digital that has an infinite number of opportunities. So there may be scarcity in the things that you're looking at directly, but there's abundance if you broaden your perspective. So
I agree.
difference between, I guess, this and that, in a way.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how much more time you have, but I did want to touch on love a little bit before we got out of here, because I know you mentioned your fiance, and I just thought it was important to, to discuss that, and how much of a blessing, why you felt like she was a blessing, and I'm gonna just let you take it, just go.
Um, So, love is uh it's so pure, and it's so precise. It's something that, growing up I had a lot of surrounding me. I grew up in a great family environment. I've always had friends or the likes of friends. So love is always something that I've been attracted to, but I haven't always received, after just saying that, like, it's always been around, but there's opportunities where you don't always receive it. And, for me, true love and the essence and the environment that it creates um is so rare but so natural at the same time, where it's like what it did for me was like it took everything that I knew about God and confirmed it. So everything that I thought I knew about God and the relationship that him and I shared was confirmed when he blessed me with Telsha. Like it was something that I thought I had experienced before. It was something that, I thought I had seen in other people before. It was something that, I even sought after. But the reason why it hit so hard for me with her is because I had, I've been single for like a year and a half or so, and I had really taken that time to just give everything that I had to God. I was like, I don't want to do this whole relationship thing again unless it's going to be what you have for me, because of how draining it is for a person like me. I'm a very giving person. I am very intentional with time and the ways in which I uh, am purposeful behind relationships. So, with that being said, like, I don't run around, I don't sleep around a bunch. I've had, a handful of relationships, like very, very um, careful in that area. So, I was spending so much time with God, and it was like, hey, like, I'm gonna pursue you, and I'm gonna trust that you know the desires of my heart, and I'm taking my hands off the wheel, like I'm chilling. And friends that were around during that time can tell you, because I've had friends like, yo, bro, like I got this girl, like blah blah blah. I was like, nah, like I'm good. Like, I'm not really into that right now. Like, I'm just not into relationship right now. I don't want to be in one. And it's funny because when Tasha and I met, both of her and I kind of came in with that same energy. We knew that there was an attraction. We knew that there was something that was, I guess, like bubbling up on the inside, in a sense, like something that was cooking underneath the surface. Um, so we just kind of spoke on it. We were just like, hey, like, I do really like you. I really see where this could go, but like, I told her, like, I don't really, she can't, it was just an agreement. Like, we both really didn't want a relationship. And but when God opens a door, and this is something that was in His Word, like, God will open a door that no man can close. And sometimes we're the man, we're the person ourselves that wants to close it. But when He opened that door, there was no way I could have closed it. Like, it was open. It was honestly wide open, and I didn't know how to avoid it. I didn't know how to navigate myself away from it. And when I sat and thought about what I was receiving, or what was being becoming available to me, it became aware that, like, how dare I? How dare I sit and say I don't want this? Like, how dare I sit here and say I don't want to be in a relationship? Or I don't really feel like, I just don't. I just need to. And I stepped away from myself, and made myself aware and available of what he was doing. And in that, it's breeded something so fruitful and so beneficial for me. I think love is important and something that everyone should experience. I think that love is a part of God's design initiative. I think it's a part of His blueprint. He created humans, And soon after, like, if we go all the way back to the beginning, he created Adam, and it wasn't but a few days later or a day later that he created Eve, because he recognized that man should not be alone. So, and having someone that meets my needs so specifically but so effortlessly is a real, um, just important thing for me. And it just validated everything that I knew about God, because I recognize that, like, you love me this much to give me something so specific that I asked for. It the word talks about the word giving and gift giving, and how that looks. And he talks about it in the way of like a parent giving a gift to a child. And he says that, like, you know if you're if your earthly parents are so good at giving you gifts, how dare you sit here and think that I, your heavenly father, aren't going to give you exactly what you asked for. So I kind of like to carry that, and 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 it's easier for me to do so now because I've received her. The first time I experienced that was when I, was given David and Goliath, the clothing brand. It took me a while to actually bring it to life and to make it a brand on its own. But, I knew that it was something that, I had asked for specifically, and he gave it to me and gave me the vision and the tools and the resources to make it happen. And, he did it again. Like everything that he does once, he'll do again. And he did it again with giving me Telsha, and he'll do it again when you know time for the next project. He'll do it again when we're ready to have children. He'll do it again. He'll just keep on providing. It's not some crazy circus act. So it's not some you know uh wild uh mystery. I know exactly what he's doing. He's just providing. And yeah, I'm just like, you know grateful is how I describe it. Is how the word love is described for me. I'm just grateful that I have it and have experienced it and continue to experience it every day and in different ways.
That's beautiful, bro. Seriously, I'm not even joking. Like, I just 100, 100, 1,000% am happy for you, and that's just beautiful to hear. Like those true love stories. Those, it's interesting to say this, but it's like I really resonate with this for a lot of different reasons. The idea of just being specific with your love and not just taking whatever comes, because it's something, just to be quite frank. Like when I was younger, I always thought I was a bit weird because it was like I thought I just had like really high standards. Like I was like a snob. Like nah, she's cute, but she ain't it. You know what I mean? Like, and what I realized as I was going through life, it was I just knew what I wanted, and I knew what was going to hold me, and I knew what I needed for a person like me who's similarly interested in a lot and is trying to do a lot. You need someone who understands that sort of hustle. And thankfully, I've been blessed as well with the fellow artist who understands the life and understands the grind, understands getting there, understands what how to build something beautiful from your brain, with your hands, with your spirit, with your talent. And it's hard to describe to people who haven't gotten it so specifically. But there are
Yeah,
days, even this morning when I woke up and I was just listening to a conversation that literally had nothing to do with what we're talking about, and I was like, wow, I really have someone who understands me. Like truly 100% is down for all my like craziness, madness, left,
yeah,
right, seemingly bouncing from one thing to the next, and all my good and all my bad. And that's something I've only probably had once before in life, and I didn't know how to treat it. And I deservedly so lost that person. Thankfully, we're still friends. But I would never expect to get an opportunity in life twice, and even greater than the one before, at a more mature point. And that just shows you like the blessings, man. Like just blessed beyond blessings. I think we, again, going back to what we said before, we sometimes don't realize the true value of things. People look at revenue and they say, "Oh, good, the resource," and they fail to realize it's relationships. Who you choose, who you do life with, is going to matter more. Who you come into life with and who you do life with is going to matter more than anything else that you can
yep,
come across in life.
yeah,
And
yeah. Life is deeply about relationship,
yeah,
and like you just said, I'm just happy that, you know, at the age that I'm at, I have received that person.
Mm,
Um, and there's never been a doubt in my mind about any step of the journey that has come through it. And yeah, I'm just grateful, man. And yeah, it's just a really good, peaceful place to be in. And I think that, the word peace is really peace and joy
yeah,
are the words that really hit home for why I knew that she was it, and those were the feelings that I felt and continue to feel in her presence, no matter what's going on. Like peace isn't the absence of trouble, and joy isn't the absence. I mean, and joy isn't only a reflection of happiness, because in life you're gonna face troubles and you're not always gonna be happy, but you can still be joyful in those moments. You can still have peace in those moments, and that's just something that I've continued to experience with her, no matter what's been going on, no matter what the troubles or the or the trials are, and that was the defining moment for me of understanding, like, okay, cool, like we can have hell or high water and still cling to one another,
yeah,
even if the hell or high water is between us. Even if we are combating one another, at the end of the day, at the end of the conversation, we can still cling to one another. We might still not like each other in the moment. We might not even want to say I love you in the moment, but it's still there. Um, and that's though that's the key for me, or for us, for curating and building a healthy, thriving relationship, and a healthy and thriving life. Because your relationship is just a portion of your life. And so like you said, to be able to just do life with someone that understands and appreciates and compliments you so well in so many different areas, brings the worst out of you, shines the light on the things that you never want anybody to know about you, but can genuinely sit here and have a conversation with you about it, is those are the things that
no
those are the
problem.
things those those are the things that make a relationship, make a good one. It has to go beyond just the highlights. It has to go beyond just the wow, you're so beautiful, um the date nights, and everything in between. It gets deep into who are you as a person, and the things that I don't like, or the things that I think you can improve on as a person, I now have the ability and the right to speak on. And when you give someone the opportunity to do so, you have to make sure that they're the right person, because if they aren't, then it can be very damaging in a lot of different ways. And we see it for so many people, that past trauma of relationships, whether it be a lover or a parent or a friend or a brother or whatever, a sister. Um, it's just important to have someone that is is willing to carry the yoke equally,
Mm,
and willing to um, help you scatter the seed, and is also willing to help you water it, and then to help and make sure that where you're scattering the seed is in a place and in a foundation that is going to breed everything that you are designing for it to. So, and I have that, gratefully. And it's a unique experience and something I never want to let go of.
I could keep going for a minute, man. So don't. If you gotta go, you gotta go. Like you don't even understand how many questions I haven't even gotten to. This is just off the general conversation. So let me know if you gotta go, because I got some more things to talk about. We can do a part two.
Yeah, I probably got about 10 more in me,
Let's,
if that's
let's
cool.
do 10 then. Let's do 10 then. Let's see if there's anything that I really want to touch on before we get out of here. Um, damn. everything's gonna take a little bit longer, a little bit more time. We may have to touch on this on a next level because there's so many different things from your mother and the jewelry influences to what your father does as a carpenter. It's just all these different things that we got to really get into. Having an outsider's perspective of fashion, I really want to talk about the concept behind like a sustainable life with you, like sustainable living, sustainable fashion, sustainable clothing. Let's just do that to end it off with David and Goliath. Like, what's the true concept of like sustainability to you and like this sort of modern just situation from the things that you're creating or just even a sustainable life in general?
Sustainable for me is just long lasting and taking or not taking, but using what's already been created. So like a lot of what David and Goliath was before or is, but how it was built from the foundation was just taking things that have already been um, created and giving them new life. So I like to use that in as many areas of my life as possible. You know, I I'm easy to let go or get rid of something, but I always kind of make sure it's going to somewhere or a place that it can have value. So it's like, okay, like if I don't want this shirt anymore, like can I sell it somewhere or can I give it to a homeless person? Like instead of taking it to the garbage, like or if I've gotten clothes from secondhand stores, of course. Like it's just, I just want to leave as minimal of an imprint with the highest impact. Um, or maybe it's the other way around. Small impact, highest imprint. No, no. Smallest imprint, highest impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I want to yeah, I just want to make a big impact on the things that I touch and the things that I come in contact with, but I don't want it to further dampen the environment of which it was created for and from.
Yeah.
I think the world is in a very special place, and I want to be a part of why it's continuing to thrive. And I have two friends specifically that are so good at doing that. And it's Avery Ginsburg and Julian Fetterman. Avery is the owner of his brand Ground Cover, and the things that he is doing with recycled materials and using agricultural fabric is just insane and mind blowing. He made a boot out of a natural leather that is pineapple based.
Mm.
The entire boot is 100% vegan and it will stand the test of time. So like if you wanted to, if you were done with your boots and you wanted to toss them into your garden and just leave them there, you could do that. You can put them in your compost bin in a
Oh,
sense,
this is different. Oh yeah, I want a different thing. Pineapple boots,
You
but
know,
they look good. They look good. They're like real
and
solid.
they're real boots, and I think that that's really cool. I mean, don't quote me on the whole putting them in your compost bin thing. I'm sure you could, but there was no note on that on the product description. But and then Julian Fetterman, he's in the process of building his brand right now, and he's doing a lot of things with knits and with yarns that are all sustainable and organically and recycled and all these things. So I just like to surround myself, like I mentioned early on in our conversation, with people that create an environment and inspire me and keep me on track. Uh, and you know, so I'd like to get into doing things like that as well, and just continuing to just use the leftovers. Like, one person's trash, another person's treasure. Like, what can I create with, what can I create with a chair that somebody didn't like anymore, left on the side of the sidewalk? Like, what can I create with, this now broken plate, you know, and just taking things and giving them new purpose. And I haven't gotten into, like I said, I want to design furniture and things like that and sculptures and stuff, but I haven't gotten into that yet. But when I do know for sure that, I want to take from what's readily available within just life. And I think that, sustainability at its highest form is, the ability to repurpose and recreate, and, without creating anything, with using resources that don't need to be newly created. It's like everything is being used from something,
I think
or
ooh,
what you do, or what you do is going to, have a life after you. So,
that could be left over for someone else, I guess.
exactly.
Exactly, and continue the chain of sharing. And I think on that note, honestly, man, we can wrap up and try to do the same, maybe offline or another time. Just want to say,
Yeah,
just thank you again for sharing. I really got a lot from this. Seriously, really got a
absolutely.
lot from this conversation, and a lot of different, a lot of different areas which I knew I would. Man, I feel like I got so much more to talk about, but what we touched on today was a great beginning, and hopefully, just one of many more to come.
Yeah,
Just thank you for sharing. Thank you for your time. You know what I'm saying, and speak to you soon for sure.
definitely, bro. Thank you again for having me here. I really appreciate it. I'm honored for the opportunity. I believe in you. I believe in your vision. I believe in everything that you're doing with your brand and your businesses. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the fruit from them. And I know this won't be the last time, so I won't say I hope, but I know
No,
it won't.
no, we definitely will, bro. Definitely. New friends, homie. New friends. Like new friends.
Yeah. So
New
we're
friends.
gonna yeah, we'll keep the conversation going. Whether it's a part two, or whether it's offsite, we'll
Yeah,
figure it
man.
out. But I
You
appreciate it, man.
I'll send you my information, man, for sure. Just want to say to everybody, like, just as a general ethos of the things that we're trying to create here, is that we need to all realize that everyone that we're looking up to now, the people that we see in front of the camera, there's the people behind them that actually are the ones giving them the spotlight. And those that are in the spotlight are going to be the ones in front of the camera. And the sooner that we realize those people exist and put the light on them before they're thrust in there, the quicker we'll realize what's coming. And I think we're too narrow minded, as I said before. We only want to see the light is already being shined upon, the tree that's already 100 feet in the air, rather than the seed that's already grown. That's going to be something even more beautiful, even bigger. And those are the things that I'm trying to expose and give the most water to in my mind. And I think we all should be doing that. So thank you again, bro.
Yeah, man. We'll talk soon.
I'm gonna speak soon.
All right.
Peace.